Well, it seems like my voice is coming back into form after dealing with a cold these last couple of days, so we should be good to go for tonight's game between the Colts and the Ice Dogs for the broadcast. It's going to be a great game. Of course, Barry coming off that 4-0 win on the road against Owen Sound last night. Ben Horebic, his first career OHL shutout. And then, of course, Niagara, they swept their Northern Road swing. And right now, just 2 points back of Barry for first place in the Central Division. Should be a ton of fun. Even had a great chat with Steve Clark, the TV play-by-play voice of the Niagara Ice Dogs, talking about this team and how they've surprised many around the Ontario Hockey League. So if you haven't seen that interview yet, make sure you check it out. I do have a whole playlist of interviews, and you can see all the broadcasters who I've spoken to so far this season, including Clark. But this video, I wanted to focus on a team that's been quietly building their future, and that's the North Bay Battalion. I find that we don't really talk too much about North Bay as they're kind of quietly building and tinkering with their lineup to get ready, I think, for a run within the next couple of seasons. This year, it's a rebuild. We have to be honest with that. The team's been to 3 consecutive Eastern Conference championships, which is really unheard of when it comes to junior hockey. Typically, with the junior hockey cycle, maybe you appear in back-to-back conference finals, but to go to 3 straight is quite remarkable for this North Bay group. So it's no surprise looking to rebuild, trade out some players to bring in younger assets and draft picks. And one of those younger players is Ryder Cali, who they have signed to an education and development agreement. Cali was acquired just before the start of the regular season from the Soo Greyhounds. Cali was originally selected 18th overall by the Greyhounds in the first round of the 2024 OHL priority selection. It seemed as though Cali was going to report to Sault Ste. Marie. He attended the rookie camp, but then decided not to report to training camp. And he's been playing with the Milton Menace of the OJHL ever since. Also has a commitment to Harvard. So now that the NCAA has voted to allow CHL players to play in the NCAA, Cali is now open to playing in the Ontario Hockey League. So this is a good addition, I think, for the North Bay Battalion. The Milton Menace right now are on a winter break, so Cali will be able to appear, it sounds like, about 5 games for North Bay, so he'll get a taste of the battalion before returning back to the Milton Menace. But he's right now the leading scorer on that Milton Hockey Club, and I feel as though he's going to be a great pickup starting like next year once he gets into the rhythm and plays regular shifts with this North Bay Battalion team. But I think this is a home run here for North Bay. Obviously, Sault Ste. Marie will now get those conditional picks that were provided to them in the original trade at the start of the regular season. But I do like this pickup for North Bay, adding another quality forward to their group. But also remember, they also signed a free agent forward, Nick Wellenreiter. He was playing for the Coquitlam Express in the BCHL. He was signed as a free agent, and that was a result of the NCAA vote. So really, North Bay scouting around and really getting their homework achieved here, because Wellenreiter, really a solid forward. He's from Waterdown, Ontario, and he's made an impact for himself right away. If you look at his stats in 7 games since signing as a free agent, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. And for Wellenreiter, he's 5'11", 167 pounds, so an average sized forward, but Wellenreiter, he's contributing. He's having an impact early on with this North Bay team. Of course, the battalion right now sitting outside of a playoff spot. They're below 500, but I feel as though if they can make the playoffs this year, that's a success for this season. And remember, too, they also acquired Shamar Moses near the start of the regular season from the Barrie Colts. He was a part of the Dolan Wakely trade that was sent to Barrie. And for Moses, he played 5 games for the Colts, no points in those 5 games. But since coming over to North Bay, he has found his groove. 25 games, 6 goals, 19 assists, 25 points. He's a point per game since being acquired by the North Bay Battalion, and he'll be a centerpiece going forward for this group. And of course, he's another first-round pick. He was the 19th overall selection in the 2023 OHL priority draft. So I really like the foundation that the battalion have going forward. And right now, like I said, they are 9th in the Eastern Conference standings, 29 points. Right now, trailing Ottawa and Brampton, who both have 32 points. So 3 points below the playoff line, which is not too bad at this point. We're less than a month away, of course, from the OHL trade deadline. So there's going to be a lot of movement affecting teams around them in the standings. And for the battalion, if you look at their month-to-month stats, it's actually been not too bad. For the month of September, they were 2-0 to start the year. Then in October, they had a record of 5-6-1. So just below 500 was their record for October. November, though, 5-5-1. And so far for the month of December, 2-3-1 is their record. So really, Ryan Houlihan doing a great job with this group, making them stay competitive in the games they've played so far. And for their schedule before the end of the month of December, they have one game this week. They're going to play the Sudbury Wolves at the Sudbury Community Arena Friday night. That's always a classic when you've got the Highway 17 rivalry. And then after the Christmas break, the Battalion, they're going to have a home and home with the Barrie Colts. The first game will be on Saturday, December 28th in Barrie, and then the following afternoon in North Bay. And then New Year's Eve, they're going to be hosting the Kitchener Rangers, and that's a 1 o'clock puck drop. So that Rangers game is going to be tough, along with the home and home with the Barrie Colts. Those are teams at the top of their conferences. But it'll be interesting to see with Ryder Cali with this group, how competitive are they going to be? Is Cali going to be able to translate a success in Tier 2 into the OHL? How much ice time is he going to get? But I think this North Bay team is setting up quite nicely for their future. For the scoring right now, Ethan Procession, he leads the team in scoring. 20 goals, 12 assists, 32 points. Procession has been outstanding for this North Bay team. He's really had his coming out party this year on the offensive front. And then you've got Jacob LeBlanc right now, second in team scoring. 4 goals, 25 assists, 29 points. LeBlanc, obviously one of the overagers on this team. Then you have Shamar Moses. He's third in team scoring. Owen Van Steensel, another veteran on this team. 12 goals, 11 assists, 23 points. Kind of off the pace than what we saw last year. Jacob Tarian, he's fifth in team scoring right now with 5 goals, 12 assists, 17 points. Liam Amidovsky, he's been fun to follow for North Bay. 10 goals, 5 assists, 15 points, and 29 games of work. So obviously the offensive output for North Bay, well off the pace that we saw last year, but still they're getting the contributions throughout the lineup. Then you have Andrew LeBlanc. He's seventh in team scoring, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. Wyatt Kennedy, the defenseman, he's eighth in team scoring, a goal and 9 assists, 10 points. And then you got 2 rookies rounding out the top 10 with Kerry Ryder. He has 9 points, and Kent Greer also 9 points. So it's good to see the rookies contributing, because this is the base that you want going forward for this North Bay Battalion team if they're going to be competitive again in, say, 2 years' time to challenge for maybe the division and the conference title for this team. But one name that's absent is Anthony Romani. He's only appeared in 6 games so far this season. 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points in those games. But he's been out as a result of a broken clavicle bone. He suffered that in the game in Erie. He took a hit into the boards by Henry, and he hasn't been back since. The timeline just says out indefinitely. So that's a big hit there for the North Bay Battalion, because Romani was leading the team in goal scoring last season. So with Romani out of the picture, it's been great to see that other players have stepped up to fill that void. Obviously, they moved Wakely, who was a big contributor last year as well. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. I know there's plenty of rumors going around right now involving the North Bay Battalion, because they are looking to the future. The trade deadline is on January 10th. Anthony Romani is going to be highly sought after, but it all depends on his health and when he's going to be back in the lineup. Similar to Quentin Musty with the Sudbury Wolves. He suffered that broken hand, and now we're waiting to see when will he be eligible to return, and that'll obviously dictate the trade value for these players. Don't be surprised if other players like Owen Van Steensel end up being moved. That's another name that's been floating around as a possibility, but I do like where the North Bay Battalion are. It's a part of junior hockey. It's a part that's hard for the fans when you see fan favorites have to be moved for picks and younger assets. But I think that the North Bay Battalion, they're in good hands right now. Management doing a great job managing their assets. I love the pickup of Shamar Moses, and as we've seen already, a point per game. So for North Bay going forward, I think this team is going to be competitive again in a few years' time. And if they can make the playoffs, that'll be a success for this group, gaining that playoff experience going forward. Obviously, it'll probably be a lower seed that they'll get. Then they'll have to play one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. But as we saw last year with the Barrie Colts, remember how they fought back and got that final playoff spot and took the Oshawa Generals to 6 games. And look at the experience they gained from that. Now Barrie contending for top spot in the Central. That's a similar path that we could see this North Bay Battalion team take. Obviously, they're going to have a high draft pick. They'll bring in other assets. But I do like where this North Bay Battalion team is right now. And I think all signs are pointing to this team being one of the top tier teams once again in the next maybe 2-3 years. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the North Bay Battalion. What kind of moves do you think you'd like to see this team make as they position themselves as a contender in a few years' time? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.